Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Michael Sheridan, and I'm here to talk about your dreams. The real ones, like the ones you had last night. If you would like to have your dream analysed on the radio, send them to me at radioshow@dream-analysis.com. If you want to come on the air and share your dream right now, call us on 425-373-5527 or toll free in Western Washington on 888-298-KKNW. Thank you to everyone who's already sent in dreams. If I didn't get to yours yet, I still could. If your dream fits the theme of the week's show, I'm going to pick it regardless of when you sent it in. This week, I'm including dreams with a theme of messages from beyond the grave. It sounds spooky, doesn't it? But it shouldn't. We can get caught up in where we are going to go when we die, that we forget to live life while we are here. We came here for the experience, so let the experience happen. Feel the fear and do it anyway, as they say. Quite often, messages from departed loved ones remind us to live. I've been writing newsletters on my website, dream-analysis.com, for many years. In the newsletter, I include an article like the one I'm about to read, and dreams with interpretations. You can subscribe to my newsletter on my website with just your email address. I picked this article because it includes a dream with a message from a woman's deceased mother. So here we go. It's entitled, Why Do We Dream? Making Sense of Illusions. You are so important that each night your dreams create an entire world around you to educate you. They are an illusion created to help you wake up from other illusions. They remind you that you are the most important person on the planet. You are not subservient. You have a specific purpose and entitlement to be here. They constantly remind you to not give your power away, and if you have, they insist you claim it back. They are the key to a healthy, happy, and successful life. The choice is yours to turn the key and do something with them. There is nothing more personal than your own dreams. They are blunt and hold no punches. They show your strengths and weaknesses. They tell you who in your life has good advice and who does not. Oftentimes, they point to events or people in your past to illustrate how these events or people are still controlling your thoughts and actions today. Your dreams are specific and focus on areas where you need help most. They comment on health, relationships, career, emotions, and spiritual well-being. They remind you of your obligations and your life purpose, and that your life is a planned journey designed to free your spirit. Your life and purpose are unique, and you have special abilities that help you achieve that purpose. When you make changes in life, your dreams comment positively or negatively on that change. Take Paul, for example, who reported having many dreams in one night where he was writing his signature and specifically noticed how it had improved. In the dream, all he saw was the tip of the pen writing on the paper. This dream literally shows Paul making a name for himself. From the dream's positive statement, we can infer that the recent changes were the correct ones to make. We can also see that writing will be part of how he makes his name, as that was the focus in the dream. Katie, who lost her mother a few months prior, dreamt of a string of flowers in her living room that led up to a flower wreath in the centre of the ceiling. In the dream, her deceased mother had placed them there. This dream shows that the bond of love, indicated by the string of flowers, continues in the spirit world, which is indicated by the ceiling level being emphasized, something above us, that it continues beyond the grave, which is indicated by the wreath. And of course, the living room represents the planet Earth where we are alive. What a wonderful message to receive in a dream. You are the star and architect of your dreams. Shakespeare famously wrote that the world is a stage where everybody plays a part. Dreams are a stage where you play every part. Dreams of family members, friends, and enemies all represent various aspects of your personality, such as ideas, emotions, hopes, fears, and ideals. Dreams focus on the most important step you need to make at the present time. The first step, as with any journey, is to find out where you are. Using expressive symbols, dreams show you this and map your journey to where you need to be. The key to unlocking dreams is through understanding the symbols on the map. In this series of articles, I will illustrate how to unlock these symbols. You can't stop dreaming. It is as vital to you as your heartbeat. Tonight, within minutes of falling asleep, you'll find yourself back at the door to this mystical world. What will you learn this time on the other side of the threshold? Okay, so now let's have a look at some dreams you sent in to make sense of it all. I start off with more of a comment from Brenda Carol Anderson Bradshaw. That's quite a long name. Must be some Irish in you somewhere. I was seeing an image of a man who was my engineer from 1980 radio days. His name was Jerry Helland, and as he came closer, he grabbed me in a hug that took me out of a dream state into what appeared to be another dimension of the physical. I felt his body, and as if it was real, and it was so strong I could not hardly breathe. He hugged me, and he didn't speak verbally, but I heard his thoughts as he was speaking. He said, "Susan, my wife, needs to know I am okay." As he spoke to me, I didn't understand, but I knew this was important. He kept telling me, "Tell her I am okay." He wouldn't let me go until I promised I would call her if he let me go. I had to fight myself to come out of this dream. I awoke, and the first thought was to check the internet for Jerry Helland in the obituaries, and as I hit the button for Richmond Times Dispatch, there it was, and I took in a deep breath as I read the date. It was just one day before my dream experience. Now, in this case, Brenda's dream was of somebody she knew in 1980. And it's quite interesting. He came to her in her dream and told her, "Contact my wife and let her know I'm okay." And he had only just died. And she did that in reality. She contacted Susan, whom she hadn't met, but she contacted her, and they had a great chat. She knew of her. But it's also, what is interesting here is, okay, the message is so important that this person, even so quickly after death, is able to contact the person. And they don't even need to be a believer in psychics while they're alive, but they know them in reality. And when they pass on, they're happy to contact them and say, "Hey, look, you were right. Please get in touch with my wife." I always find that one amusing. But why not? That's exactly what you want to do. Pass a message on. So here's another dream from Rhonda. And she says, "I'm in a large living room," and note the living room again. This is quite often a feature in dreams where deceased people show up because you're the one living, at least from our perspective, you're the one living, but of course everybody is. "I'm in a large living room, and my sister, who is deceased for 21 years, is in a black coffin in the middle of the room. I stand over her to get a view, and she opens her eyes, and they are emerald green with black pupils, and I back away because I'm afraid." So really what to look at here is the theme of the dream. There's more to this dream, which I'll continue on with. It's the theme. The fear is represented by the black coffin and the black pupils. So you look at the mostly the theme. "I'm afraid, and I know she is coming for me, but there are spirits of people walking around the room, and one even walks through me. As I back away, my sister gets out of the coffin. I turn around and run out the door with her chasing behind me. I'm running down a long stretch of gravel road with tall green trees," we have green again, "and grass to the left of me. And as I turn to look, I notice the spirits watching my sister chase me down the road. I'm afraid of my sister, but not so much the spirits. I also notice my cat is running to my left alongside the trees and grass, and then I hear a truck. The grey truck is driving towards me and my cat. The truck runs over my cat, but it doesn't stop, so I stop running to check to see if my cat is okay. My sister stops chasing me, and I stop running, and we both walk towards the cat, and I ask, 'Is he alive?' Just as the cat makes a move to get up, and my sister says, 'Yes, he is, and so are you.'" And that's the end of the dream. And this is really the common theme I was indicating earlier. Deceased ones come to us in our dreams, and really what they're trying to do is tell us or give us permission to live our lives, to stop looking back at what has happened and what is effectively, like in this dream, the cat's run over. So it's like the sister has felt like she was run over and saying, "Look, you need to get on with living your life." In reality, the dream is about her being haunted by the death of her sister. And the dream says, "Look, you need to get over that." The cat run over would indicate she also has elimination system problems. However, the cat in the dream, you'll notice the truck is coming towards her. So this hasn't happened yet. So this is, if she's not experiencing elimination system problems, they're coming. Because of they're indicated by the gravel road and the trees and the cat, and then of course that it's run over and flat. Also look for issues with Dad because of the truck. Trucks are a symbol that indicate career, and quite often, depending on her age, particularly my age, for instance, trucks will indicate career because Dad was the one who earned the living back then. Women quite often stayed home to look after the kids. So it can be different in your situation because of your age when times changed, and women also entered the workplace. So it can be different for everybody, but typically the truck is going to be out for a career. The other thing to look at here is, what is your sister's name? Because the cat is referenced so often. So is your sister's name Kathy or Cat? And it's quite often interesting to get something like that in a dream. And this reminded me of a dream I got some time ago. And the dreamer was quite distraught. Her son had committed suicide about 8 months before she spoke to me. But every time she dreamt of her son, he was coming up the driveway at the front of the house, and that indicates the future or the present. So that's a positive. It's not talking about the past like the previous dream. But he kept saying to her, all that ever came across in the dream was her telling her, I'm not Kevin, I'm not Kevin, I'm not Kevin. And she couldn't understand this. And I asked her if her son was adopted, and it turned out he was, and she had changed his name. And it was a big thing for him in his life to find his real mom and find out what his birth name was. And so it was a huge message to her to say he's still alive. That's what he was trying to get across, and that he was happy where he was, and that he had found out who he was. So all very positive. But of course, like many dreams, when we look at them at first, they seem a bit horrific. So sticking with another dream, this one comes from Connie, and she says it's a dream she had about her husband. Now, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, our dreams are going to be about us and about some change we need to make. But in this case, she's a clairvoyant, and she has dreams about other people. Indeed, so too was the other lady that I mentioned earlier, Brenda Carroll. She has her own radio show where people call in, and she gives them readings and so on. So not surprising then that her friend found her and told her to pass on a message. So here anyway, Connie says, I had a clairvoyant dream about my husband's health in 2006. He's retired service station manager. He has had bladder tumours as long as I've known him. In 2006, he was told that the tumours had penetrated the muscle wall of the bladder and he needed to see a surgeon. I dreamt later that week that I was in our home, and across the street was an old antique service station with rusty gas pumps. Inside the house, all the cabinets were too high for me to reach. When I looked out the back window, I saw a pond with dirty water in it. So that's the dream, quite simple. The rust is the worst symbol in that dream. Rust, if untreated, is going to keep attacking a physical object until it completely perishes. So it's never a good symbol in a dream. Indicates a health condition that needs addressing. Anyway, when I woke, I knew he was going to lose his bladder and other organs connected. I didn't tell my husband, but when the surgeon told us in the meeting that he would have to have it removed, I was not surprised. The pond told me that. The cabinets out of reach also told me that I could not control this event. The rust gas pumps, inhaling various fumes and chemicals from his industry, had caused the problem. My husband did end up losing not only his bladder, but lymph nodes as well. At 72, he is now healthy with no signs of cancer. So this is, what have we got, 8 years later. So it shows following the message in dreams is a good thing, and never indeed a good thing to ignore. Connie also had sent me in other dreams, and it's always quite interesting. The interpretation is frequently obvious because of the words that are being used and the puns that are in the dream. But we miss them ourselves because we're too close to the symbols in the dream, or even just the feeling of the dream is too close to us, so we quite often miss it. So Connie, from her dreams, I can tell, has issues with her mother. Not unusual there, many of us do. But in her case, they go back to birth and go back to the womb. She also has a very strong intuition, which is indicated in her dreams by sliding glass doors. And the dreams link the two. They say, okay, look, dealing with the issues with your mother is going to help improve your intuition. And this is why she has the two together. So let's have a quick, just superficial look at this. I really included her stuff because of the previous dream, which I thought was quite interesting. So she says here, I quite often have dreams about a mother grizzly bear. Later on, she refers to that as a grizzly mama. So that's really like the dream telling us exactly what the issue is. It's about her mother and about the grisly issues she needs to deal with. So first time I was in a public place, it reminded me of a meeting area of a hotel with patio doors looking out onto a nature scene of grass, a few trees and a parking lot. I was inside the space looking, apparently networking with others, and all of a sudden the mama grizzly started walking towards the sliding glass door with 2 cubs following. So we have the mother and we have the children. Doesn't matter in the dream that it's a different species. We quite often forget we're animals in the animal world too. But that's all this symbolises. She was up on her hind legs. I was trying to open the sliding doors. Everyone took off except me. So this indicates fear of looking at these issues. Fair enough, understandable. In the dream, of course, it's a grizzly bear, but it's just looking at the grizzly issues. I thought about running down the hall to my right and was somewhat afraid, but not enough to run like the others. So the hall is also a symbol for the womb here, at least in the context of this dream, because we have the mom and the cubs mentioned. She began to look around the space, and her cubs meander around curiously. The mother grizzly then turned, went outside with the cubs, and walked towards the tree outside and disappeared. In the meantime, I'm saying to myself, that wasn't very scary after all. Of course, when you see something like that in the dream, saying something isn't scary, it is scary. So dealing with the issues around your mother is something that you don't want to do. But the dream is trying to get you to accept that it's something that's worth doing and that the benefits will outweigh all the issues. And of course, they always do outweigh all the issues. It's always a huge step forward. 3 weeks later, I'm in a similar space and only the grizzly mama shows up without her cubs. Once again, she's working to open the sliding door. She enters the space and I once again am afraid, but not a whole lot. This time, however, I run to another room and hide in a closet. Now, a closet or any room, small room with no windows, that's just dark, is also indicative of the womb. So the closet here brings you back there again. Another person walks in on the bear and just shoos her out the door like a cat. She leaves with no argument. So that's good. The ending is good in both these dreams. There's no mauling or anything like that, but it just says, look, you need to deal with the issues with your mother. It's going to help you enormously in your businesses because you rely on your intuition a lot. In fact, Connie, the work Connie does, I couldn't imagine doing myself. It almost sounds like working by the seat of your pants and having to make things come together on a particular date, even when quite often in advance you don't know how that's going to happen. So strong businesswoman, strong intuition would obviously be hugely useful to you. And the bear trying to open the sliding glass doors in the dream is actually trying to help you by making your intuition stronger and something more tangible. So there's one dream I've wanted to do for a while that I haven't covered. So it's a health dream, and I have it with me here today, but I didn't include the name of the person who sent it in, so apologies for that, but you will recognize it. I was at a very large restaurant with my husband, James. She calls it Chinese restaurant is the title of the dream. The staff were Chinese. I ordered cheesecake and an egg sandwich, so the emphasis here is on egg. And this is another one of these dreams that when you see the important parts of the dream, what she emphasizes indeed herself, it almost interprets itself. So I ordered a cheesecake and egg sandwich. Then I went to the ladies' room. The paper towel dispenser was also a physical strength tester machine. I pulled the towel as hard as I could, but then I was expected to fill out a form on the screen to get my result, and I didn't feel like it. I go back to the dining area, but decided to sit at a different table where I could see James at our table. I don't know why, but it was intended to be momentary. Then some of the kitchen staff came out to sit at that very table to eat. They sat down with a large platter of eggs. I picked up my stuff and went back to the original table and found that the food ordered had been delivered and James had eaten my cheesecake. Okay, again, like any dream, it seems kind of a bit crazy. But when you look at the symbols, these symbols all point at the same thing. We have the egg sandwich, the egg platter, the table, the ladies' room, all symbolize the ovaries. And when you think about it, it should seem pretty obvious because of all the emphasis on the eggs. And the egg sandwich, of course, is eggs that are not in a healthy state. They've been mashed together, and here in this dream, of course, they're only for being eaten. But it's a common theme in dreams to see soups and other things in dreams that are also about the ovaries. And foods quite often then being targeted to say, look, you need to give up these foods. In this case, we have the cheesecake, which says dairy products, cut down on those because they're not helping the issue. But so we have the ovaries being the big thing, but more importantly, we have the physical strength tester machine. And the lady, the dreamer, has to fill out a form to get her test results, a form on a screen. So the dream is really saying, look, go get screened, get your results. There's no symbol of that's shouting danger in this dream or anything like that. But please go do it. Go get a checkup, even if it's just to settle your mind. It's something that the dream is asking you to do. And of course, there's nothing physical in this dream. There's nothing shouting danger. There's nothing saying, okay, look, here's a physical problem. There's no physical objects in this dream that have physical problems. So that's good. So we're talking really just getting the checkup and following whatever advice comes from that. But your previous dream had symbols that were, well, not symbols, it was direct. They were talking about the heart line and a flat line. And even at that dream, if it was a very short dream, you said you could imagine what the flat line indicated, which of course is death in the previous dream. But of course, dreams exaggerate. All of us are heading towards death, just some of us are going there a little bit more slowly than others. But really the dream is saying, don't be afraid to go get a checkup because you're afraid of the results you might get. And I've seen that with many people. They're afraid of what they're going to be told, and that fear is so gripping that they don't deal with the issue that is very easy to deal with. So here, the dream is saying, regardless of the fear, go get a checkup. And I can tell you from the dream, there is nothing in the dream that says there is a physical health problem that you need to be worried about, that you need to avoid getting the checkup for. But of course, you still need to do it. So I have a couple. I'll just give the number out again. We might be a bit too late for this. I should have done it earlier. The number is 425-373-5527 if you have a dream, or 888-298-KKNW if you're in Western Washington. So we have another dream from Bernadette. She says, I got into my car, which was parked on a pavement, and started to drive off. I realized I was going too fast and tried to brake, but I couldn't slow down in time. I saw a short red brick wall in front of me, the garden wall of the first house in a row of houses. I turned the wheel and hit the wall on one of the doors. It wasn't too bad. A dent in the door and the wall was damaged but still standing. So here the theme again is the important thing. But the red brick wall is going to be about the heart and issues with the heart. And driving her car is saying, okay, and she's driving too fast. So the dream is saying, look, you need to slow down to get to where you need to be going in your life. You don't need to be in a hurry. And quite often we are in a hurry. We think we're going to be missing something and we imagine where we need to be and we tend to go after it, and we go after it a little bit too fast. And that can quite often make us miss opportunities that are going to present themselves in our lives. Anyway, my initial reaction was to drive right off, pretend it never happened. Not nice. Then I saw that there was many houses across the street with big windows, and I thought that someone must have seen me. Anyway, driving off was not the right thing to do, so I got out of the car and started to approach the house. I love how she knew it wasn't the right thing to do because somebody might have seen her. Anyway, before I got to the house, an old thin man cycled up behind me, and I knew it was his house. Now, the bike here, is also another symbol for the heart. Now, again, this dream is not about physical health issues. I know the wall is damaged and so on, but it's more about following your heart than something else. So let's continue on. I told him I crashed into the wall and offered to pay for the damage. For some reason, I said it twice. He said that was fine, and he went into his house to look for a pen. I rummaged in my purse. Now, in Ireland, where she's from, the purse is actually a wallet, which is also another symbol for the heart. So we have three symbols for the heart here: the bike, the wall, and the purse. To see if my business card for Serenity Healing was there so I could give it to him. So the business card is an important thing in the dream here. Then a young dark-haired woman came out of the house and started to speak about the old man. She said how much he had helped her when she did not know if her boyfriend was dead or alive. It was very moving. I felt tears in my eyes, and I knew that the man was a priest and a counsellor. I also knew that the woman was often at this house, and I thought maybe I should go there too. Then the old man came back out, and then there was two of him, one dressed in a suit who looked very smart, and the man himself as he looked before, casual. I approached the one in the suit, and the man said, "No, don't touch him. You need to talk to me." And that's the important crux of the dream, the ending point. Don't pursue the man in the business suit. So you're everything in a dream. So you're not to pursue the business, which is what you tend to do. You're to follow your heart, which is what you're not doing. And you already know. The twos, of course, in this dream are all about dialogue. This person can channel. She gets messages, and she knows so many people who work in this field too, and she works in the field too. She can do many things, and that's where she's to work. So it's the dream, really, to summarize it, is saying your actions are affected by how you think others see you, but you convince yourself that doing what others want to see you do is the right thing for you to do in reality. And of course, that's rubbish. We know it's rubbish, and you know it. You're being told, literally, follow your heart, not your business. And that's great. It's really, really good. And from knowing Bernie, she'd actually be happy to hear this in the dream. And of course, she's going to write and say, I already knew that, but thanks for analysing the dream. So what else have I got to say? Our time's up again. And I just want to say that I do have a talk in East West Bookshop on the 17th of January at 7 o'clock. It's $15. It's a bit of a show with a presentation, so you'll enjoy it. So please come to that if you can and you're in the area. I also have the newsletter, like I mentioned earlier. Everything's on my website, dream-analysis.com. So if you go there, it'll bring you to a link that tells you how to submit your dreams for the show and all the other things you need to do. I do have a course starting online course starting on 1st of February. It goes on for 6 weeks. And I have an in-person course that starts on the 24th and 25th, if I'm remembering the dates right. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. It's a weekend workshop. But that's it for this week. Thanks very much for tuning in, and see you next week.